The Gardener Who Forgot How to Grow. Arthur felt his life was a perfectly manicured but terribly boring lawn. He trimmed and edged and watered it every single day. Then, one Tuesday, a wildfire of bad news swept through, and everything he had so carefully maintained went up in smoke. He was left standing alone in a field of ash and regret. Arthur sat in the ash for a long, long time. It got in his hair and under his fingernails and seasoned his sandwiches. Well-meaning friends brought him sprinklers and bags of grass seed. "Just get back to it," they'd chirp before hurrying away from the mess. But Arthur just sat. The silence was heavier than any sprinkler. One day, a woman named Florence walked right into his field of ash. She wasn't carrying a rake or a rulebook. She was carrying a thermos. She sat down next to him, a comfortable distance away, and poured a cup of tea that smelled of bergamot and fresh starts.
"Cozy, isn't it?"
she said with a wry smile. Florence visited every day. One afternoon, after many silent cups of tea, she pulled a single wrinkled seed from her pocket.
"I have no idea what this will be,"
she told Arthur, her eyes twinkling.
"Could be a daisy. Could be a carnivorous man-eating monster plant. Shall we find out?"
For the first time in a long time, Arthur felt a flicker of something other than despair. He nodded. Together, they used their hands to clear a tiny circle in the ash. The soil beneath was cool and damp. They placed the seed in the earth, where it looked impossibly small and lonely.
"Now what?"
Arthur asked, his voice raspy.
"Now,"
Florence said, topping off his mug,
"we wait. And we drink more tea."
Then, one morning, it was there. A tiny speck of brilliant green, pushing its way through the soot. It was the smallest, most fragile-looking thing Arthur had ever seen, and he was terrified to even breathe on it. He called Florence, his voice cracking with an emotion he couldn't name.
"It's here!"
he whispered.
"It's really here!"
Florence arrived, beaming.
"See? You're a gardener after all!"
Tending the sprout became Arthur's new purpose. He learned that growth wasn't about grand gestures, but about small, consistent acts of care. He wasn't just tending the plant, he was tending to the forgotten garden inside himself. The sprout grew into a strange and wonderful plant. It wasn't a daisy or a monster. It had sturdy leaves like shields, twisty vines that curled into question marks, and flowers that looked like tiny, laughing suns. The field was no longer just ash. It was a garden in the making, uniquely theirs. One day, a gust of wind carried a seed from their plant over to a neighbouring barren patch. Arthur looked at Florence, a question in his eyes. She just smiled and shrugged.
"Looks like the cycle continues."
Arthur realised that blooming wasn't a destination. It was a rhythm of burning, waiting, and choosing to grow again. And it was always better with a friend and a good cup of tea.